Let's see. Okay, it should be recording now.
Yeah, sounds good.
Should be recording. All right. So just wanted to say, hello to everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this job scan workshop. You call it a workshop presentation. Some of you may be familiar with job scan, some of you maybe not, but no worries, no worries. Our wonderful Liana, who's our representative from JobScan, is going to walk us through just one of the main features of JobScan, not the whole thing, but just one of the main features of JobScan, probably the most important feature, if I can say that. Just to get you familiar with it. We have about an hour, so I don't want to waste too much time, but just some basic, housekeeping, some house rules. Um, I don't know if they have questions, do you want them to ask as we're going through or kind of save them till the end?
Either
What's
or.
easier
I
for
like
you?
just let's put them in the chat and then we'll take them as we go.
Sounds good. Okay, let's put them in the chat. We
Mhm.
are going to be recording the event maybe at about, let me see, maybe 5:45 or so. I may end up dropping a link in the chat. That's just a quick survey, just getting feedback from everyone. The survey is really quick. It's a 2-minute survey. It allows us to get, feedback on what we're doing to make sure that we're presenting, services, workshops, and the like that you find of benefit. Okay. All right, so without further ado, I want to introduce Liana. Liana, what's your proper title? Your proper title. I just call my job scan buddy. My real.
Well, I can do a quick intro then, Andre, no worries. So, hi, everybody. My name is Liana Johan. I am the Customer Success and Education Manager at Jobscan, and it is my pleasure to introduce you all to the tool if it's your first time looking at it, or give you a refresher if you have played around with it before. Yeah, very excited to show you what this is all about. Yeah.
Awesome. So,
Okay. Well, if we are good to go, then like Andre said, we can use a chat function in here. I am going to let's see here.
I'll filter
Um,
questions as they come in as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, during this session in here, I just wanted to check out and see, do we have a reaction enabled? We do not. We have the raise hand in here, but that's okay. But
Yeah.
everybody can utilize the chat, right? So just for housekeeping in here, for some engagement, I would love to see if everybody can find the chat box in here and give me a thumbs up in the chat box.
All right.
Right?
Nobody can find the chat. There you go. Oh, there
There it
you go.
is. Okay. Awesome. 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 Awesome.
Some
Okay.
hands up too.
Very good. I will take that. We'll keep hands down for now. If you do have a question, let's use the chat box for the questions in here. I will be checking periodically. Andrew will have eyes on it as well. We will take your questions as they come. And then we will get going. Okay? Does it sound good? If that is good for everybody, give me a peace sign emoji in the chat if that's good for everybody. I'm getting peace. Okay, awesome. Yes. Fantastic. Okay. Fantastic, fantastic. Well, here we go. Then I'm going to start my presentation now. I'm going to start to share screen. And then here we go. Okay. So, um, in the beginning here, we want to talk about JobScan. What is JobScan? JobScan is a tool to help you with getting interviews, getting interviews easier for you. And how we do that is by helping you to tailor your application to a specific job description, a specific company, and a specific applicant tracking system. Okay, some of you may have heard of applicant tracking systems, some of you may not have heard of it yet. So here's a little bit about what that is. An applicant tracking system is a system, tool, software, algorithm, and for some companies now, AI that will help a recruiter to streamline recruitment processes. So, what that looks like for a recruiter is, for example, a company like Amazon, which you may or may not have heard of, in a single day, for a single job posting, a company like Amazon can receive up to 2,000 applications for a single job in a single day. That's not a wild exaggeration. That is sort of the nature of the competitiveness in the job market right now. It is wild to expect that a single human recruiter will go through all 2,000 applications manually in that single day, right? So a company like Amazon will utilize an applicant tracking system or an ATS, as we call it, to streamline that process. That ATS will filter through the candidates based off of skills, educations, your job title, your previous job title, some previous work experience, skill sets, and other hiring criteria that the hiring manager has set. From there, the ATS generates a report for the recruiter to say, "Hi, human recruiter, here are the top 20 to 30 candidates based off today's pool of applicants." From there, 20 to 30 is a much more manageable number of applications for the human recruiter to go through. So then when they review that afterwards, then they decide who gets to come to the interview process and then who gets interviewed, so on and so forth, who gets the job from there, right? So that's how companies will utilize some level of technology to streamline this process. Okay, so how many companies are utilizing ATSs? Well, within Fortune 500 companies, almost 100% of companies will utilize some form of technology. And this 1% here that we might not have the privy information to are these are 1% could be either they either don't use ATSs or use ATSs that they build in-house. Google is one that they build their own ATS in-house that is proprietary information, that is their intellectual property. We have no information on it. However, a lot of the other companies will utilize ATS softwares that are just softwares that they buy from external companies, right? And those are these types of companies. These are the most popular ATSs that we can see on the market. Some of you who are job searching might recognize some of these names here. So if you are job searching, give me a thumbs up in the comment section in here. If you have applied to a job in the last 6 months, if you are actively looking or even just actively window shopping to see what's available out there. Oh, I'm getting a lot of thumbs up in here. Okay. So a lot of you are actively looking. That's amazing. Good job. I did see a hand raise as well. So that's also, I'll take that as a thumbs up. Right. So some of you might be familiar with these names. Workday, SuccessFactor, Taleo, iCINS, Oracle, Phenom People, things like that. These are the most popular ATSs that we see in the market, right? And their job, again, is to help that recruiter to make the decision, right? To help them to filter down the candidates, to say these are the best candidates, these are the top candidates in here. How they extract that information from your application can look different from ATS to ATS. Some ATSs will focus on certain skill sets. Some ATSs have very specific capabilities in terms of even what type of file format that they're able to read through. So if sometimes some are not going to be able to take like TXT documents, can only take PDFs. If you apply with a Word document, it might be a corrupted file, things like that. So all of these ATSs are different here. Okay, so these are for the Fortune 500. However, when we take a bigger look as well, if some of you are thinking, well, I'm not worried about ATSs because I'm not applying to Fortune 500, I'm applying only to startup companies, small companies, very medium sized, not Fortune 500. Well, I'm here to tell you that every company, even outside of the company, may use technology in some way. And these are the most popular ones, even outside of the Fortune 500. Here at Jobscan, we are a company of 40-ish people. We are not a Fortune 500 company. We're still very startup size here. We utilize the ATS called Lever. Okay. So for me to be in this position today, even for myself, my application went through Lever. Lever flagged me as a top candidate. My hiring manager pulled me from that report, checked out my LinkedIn, invited me to the interview, interviewed me, and the rest is history. Here I am with all of you today to talk about JobScan and all of its capabilities to help you with your application. And if any of you are wondering if I use JobScan to apply for my job at JobScan, 100% yes, I did. I absolutely used JobScan to optimize my own resume to apply to JobScan. And I got the interview, and it was still good enough. So we're going to take a look at JobScan, okay? Alrighty. So this is what Jobscan will look like when you log in with your student credentials. Okay, so there is a login link where you don't have to memorize a new email and password. You can get it with your CSU emails. Okay, and then you go into here, which is Jobscan Premium. All right, so if you don't see this tag here, if you see something that's free, that's, we've went to the wrong link somewhere. But so if you log in with the login link with your CSU credentials, you'll go to Jobscan Premium. With Jobscan Premium, you get 6 premium features. Those are our resume builder, our job board, our Power Edit tool, which is the resume optimizer, a cover letter generator, a job tracker, as well as a LinkedIn optimizer. Okay. Uh, Job seekers who utilize all 6 features together see 43% less time job searching. Because one of the things that we prioritize here at JobScan is to help you get application ready faster. Okay, the sweet spot about for applying for jobs is about the first 48 hours is something that we will sort of recommend here. And just for context, again, for JobScan, we are not a Fortune 500 company at all, right? For my role that I am in right now, the customer success and education manager role, I applied to this job within the first 2 hours of it being posted because I had my Google alerts set. I had my alerts to say like, oh, I'm a fan of JobScan. I want to keep eyes, I like keep tabs on them. I got a Google alert saying, hey, Jobscan just posted this job. Do you want to check it out? I did, optimized my resume in 5 minutes, sent off my application, reached out to the recruiter, got an interview the next day, right? After I was hired, having casual conversations with my manager, he did share with me that for this role that I'm in today, there were over 900 applicants, even in like the first 48 hours, that they did close it within 2 days because it was just an overwhelming amount of applications. And again, we are not a Fortune 500 company. So that is something that you want to think about as well. Applying sooner than later is going to help your chances with standing out in the crowd. Okay, so today we are going to focus on one of these features for JobScan, which is our Power Edit tool, which is the resume optimizer. Okay, for all of the features, you'll be able to see it here on the left-hand side. This is our menu options, which you can collapse if you'd like to, just for cleanliness. And but all the features you'll be able to see here. I think we have a question in the chat. How much is JobScan without using the school account? It is $89.90 per quarter, and you get that for free now. Okay, okay, Kelly. So, Andre, I can at the end of this put the link in here unless you have that handy already for logging in.
Marketing, yes, I have that.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Kelly will share that link in the chat afterwards. It's going to be on the school website as well. That's accessible to you, right, Andre?
Yeah, and just so you know how you find JobScan and what I'll do is probably towards maybe at the end, I'm going to go into our dashboard to show you how to get there because you have to go through Career Link. That's probably the easiest way to get there, to be honest. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe at towards the end, if anyone who wants, I'll just show you how to access it through Career Link and provide the link as well.
Mm-hmm. Kelly, that's right. It's $89.90 per quarter. So every 3 months, as a subscription, there is a monthly one that I think $50, like $49.99 per month. But you get that for free with with your CSU email. Um, yeah, because Andre has already paid for it. So yeah. So
Yeah,
thank Andre, everybody.
that's right. You'll get to
Yeah.
use it on our dime.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at our Power Edit tool today. Okay, so Power Edit here is the resume optimizer. So in my account, what we have assumed we have built out is I have created and built multiple different resumes, and you can build multiple different resumes as much as you like with our resume builder here. Right. So if you are looking at multiple different types of roles, you can have one for finance, one for accounting, one for marketing, one for like an admin assistant. You can have as many resumes as you need to feel like you're casting a wide net. So the assumption of going into today is I've already got my resumes built out. And you can see that some here. I have like, well, 4 different versions of my resumes for different types of roles that I'm applying to. Okay. So for today, I want to apply to this financial analyst role at Lululemon. This is my own personal preference of like, this is one of my dream companies that I want to work at. Okay. I want to work at Lululemon. So I've got my Google alert set for when they hire. Here, I'm going to copy paste this job description into JobScan and start to optimize a resume for this role specifically at Lululemon. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to take this information in here. I'm going to look at specifically things that have to do with the skills, experience, qualifications of the role. That it's the most important information that I want to pull into JobScan. So things like a day in the life here, the qualifications, the must-haves. If a job description says nice to have, bonus things like things that like some job descriptions usually write bonus, nice to have. If you speak a second language, if you have capabilities in another language or something else like that, I would include that information as well. You don't have to include the whole job description because things like compensations and benefits package is not related to the qualifications, the skills, the experiences of the role. These are more like logistics information for you. This does not impact what I will write in my resume at all. So I don't need this. So if the job description is really long, or if they have like some job descriptions have like their um
Like equal
diversity.
opportunity, diversity. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, diversity, accessibility statements, things like that at the bottom, full instructions. You don't have to include those ones because it won't impact sort of like the content of your resume. So don't feel like you have to include everything. Okay. So where I'm going for that is, let's say I've logged in here. I want to click new scan. I'm going to copy paste that job description right in here. Okay. So I'm going to copy this job description right in here. This is a text box. So if I did miss anything, I can always add. And then if I added too much, I can always take out if I've added too much information that I feel like is not super important. I'm going to pick and choose what resume I want to use for this one. So again, if you've got one for marketing, for one for accounting, one for finance, one for admin assistant, pick the one that is going to be the most relevant for this job description here. Okay. So what's going to happen from here is you can either scan or power edit. Scan here is going to give me a quick report on how this resume that I'm going to choose compares to the job description I've uploaded. For like, so comparing the content in here. So it's just going to give me a quick report like these are the skills that we can see, these are the keywords that we can see, and these are the keywords that are missing. Just very sort of like a content report in here. And then you can do with what you want with that information. Some of you might not have the time. Some of you just want to see like, let's just see how I do. If I get a good score or get good feedback, and that's good to go. Maybe you're in between classes, right? And you don't actually have the time to sit to edit. Power Edit here will give you the same information from that scan report, but it brings you to the editing interface so that you can start to sit and then adjust your resume. And as you adjust your resume, the feedback gets adjusted as well. So you can see how much you're improving from your initial first scan. I will show you both so that you get an understanding of like what information on you get from each side. I'm going to click scan here. And again, it's going to scan the job description and it's scanning my resume. And it's just going to give me that sort of just like, here it is. Here's how it's going to go. Okay. So here I get a 37% match rate. This is sort of the ATS match rate. So a visualization for me of, hey, if this goes through an ATS, this is likely what it will score you or the likely match that it will give to the recruiter to help them understand that how much of a match you are or your resume is for the job description, right? I've got good information about searchability, like here, reminders of my summary. I did not find a summary section on your resume. That's true. That's a personal preference for me. I don't usually write a summary until the end of optimizing my resume. That's just personal preference for me. If you have one, you might get the check mark. You're good to go. Andre, do you want to
Real
add
quick.
anything? Yeah.
No, real quick. I was going to say we have a question.
Oh, okay.
Um, so quick question is from Michelle. How should we set up our resume so JobScan can cross-review your resume to the job description, or does it read all sorts of layouts? Does JobScan adjust your resume to the description?
Okay. Michelle, great question about formatting. It does read in terms of all sorts of layouts, what I want you to make sure about layouts is formatting is important for an ATS. And I will, what can I show you here now? I'm going to show you, okay, this is the resume here. Okay, this is my resume. We will get to this from Power Edit, okay? This as a style of resume, it is very clean, very neat. It is a traditional standard chronological format of a resume. Okay. That is the most ATS accessible. So in terms of like if you're asking all sorts of layout, whether you're talking about like, oh, could I put some design behind it? Could I put a little bit more of like visualizations in there? We'll get to that a point a bit of like an ATS's capability to read through that at all. So in terms of reviewing your resume, you still want it to be a standard traditional chronological resume will be the most accessible to the ATS. And that's all I'll give right now in terms of that information before we get into sort of like the specifics of an ATS, okay? And Noah, your question, does Jobscan adjust your resume to the description? Well, we will give you here, like this match report, we will give you that information about what is different from your resume to the job description. And it's up to you to say how much you want to adjust that because what will give you that information like these are the things that are missing. Like here, let's go to hard skills and soft skills here. Hard skills. So analytics is mentioned 3 times in the job descriptions, 0 times in my resume. It is up to you to think, okay, I need to write analytics in my resume then, right? Or what else? Retail. Retail is mentioned twice in the job description, 0 times in the resume. Now, Noah, then it's going to be up to you if you have retail experience to put that in there. So now there's an indication in here you're missing some retail experience. That's going to be important for Lululemon, obviously. Even though it's a financial analyst position, it's still a retail company, right? So we don't do this automatically for you because we are not lying for you on your resume, right? It's still going to be up to you to take a look at this to say, what's missing? What am I actually able to speak to in terms of what's missing, right? Same goes with soft skills. Let's scroll down to soft skills in here. Could I focus on written communication skills in general a little bit more? Do I have those capabilities to speak to that in my resume? Okay. So this is the scan report we're calling here, just like the resume scan results. Because for some folks, this information, this report we give you, is good enough for you, right? Some of you just like want this information and be like, okay, cool. I got to get on with my day. I'm in between classes. I'm commuting to my part-time job. Like I don't have time to edit this now. But for those of you who are ready, you've got the time to edit. We can jump to Power Edit. Andre, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, so really quick, what happens, Leon, if I see one of those keywords that I said, I don't really think this is a keyword, really.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do then?
Here, so we can flag this, report this, and say like, I don't think this is important at all. This is not a skill. It's too generic or some kind of other. So not relevant to this job, right? And I can exclude this from all reports or just this report here. This is for our AI language learning model as well and be like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe this is not relevant for this type of role. Maybe this is not relevant or like we've just picked up a word. In the beginning, stages of us introducing the AI for parsing this, it kept picking up the word it because it thought it was IT, right?
Hmm.
So enough reports afterwards was just like, it's not the word IT, it's just the word it. And we're like, our AI was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm clocked into that now. And that doesn't happen anymore. So you even reporting this takes out this skill here and then does not impact your score as well. We won't take that into account as well. Okay?
Thank you. Mhm.
Thank you, Andre. Okay, let's now edit my resume. Like I'm good to go. Like I've got time. I finished my classes. I got a spot at the library. I got a private table. I've got my laptop out. I'm ready to go, right? So I can click Power Edit. Okay. All right, so Power Edit here gives me that visualization of the resume I chose in here, right, with all that content that I had already filled out. Again, it's being compared to the job description. So the job description that I copied from Lululemon, that's right here. And it highlights for me all of the keywords picked up from this job description, okay? That's again visualized in my resume here for the green highlights. All my green highlights here, the things that are underlined, are things from my resume that match with the job description. These are the things that are contributing to this score here of my ATS match rate, this 37 here. What I want to say about this 37, this number here, this ATS match rate, right? This is only a reflection of the way that my resume is written, the spelling, the grammatical structure, the tenses that I'm using as compared to the job description, okay? So when y'all see this number here, what I want to be very clear is this is not a reflection of you as a human being or you as a candidate. We're not saying how well you'll do at this job. So if some of you see a low score here, I know some of you who are like very grade oriented might be like, oh my God, this is a failing grade. Like, I'm so underqualified for this job. I'm not even going to apply. And you throw out the application. Please don't do that. Like, I don't want that to be, I want to encourage you to optimize your resume because there are so many things you can do to increase the score here, to pass, like, increase your chances at passing the ATS, to get to the recruiter, to get to the interview. Okay. So, again, this score here is a reflection of how your resume is written, the spelling, the grammatical structure, the tenses. Okay?
And quick question from Andrea. How do you put a resume with no work or volunteer experiences? I can touch on that a little bit unless you want to,
Go ahead.
Liana.
No, go
So
ahead.
what I would say is, Andrea, is what you can do is, and this is sometimes very normal with students, depending on where you are in your college journey, whether you're a sophomore, junior, or a graduate student. Many times, our career advisors, we would encourage you to put projects on your resume. Projects could be class projects or projects that you can utilize ChatGPT to create projects for you to work on. We have tools such as Forage that has what they call virtual experiences, which is another fancy way of just saying projects that companies have put together for wonderful students such as yourselves to put on your resume to show that maybe you haven't had the opportunity to work a job in that area, but you are familiar with the concepts and the tools, you utilize the tools, and recruiters do look at that in a positive light.
Yeah,
School projects and classwork, that is also a group project. Yes, correct. And even
sure.
your capstone project even. I don't know if Leanna, if you wanted to add something to that or not.
Yeah, no, I'll give you a real world experience about that, Andrea. So, in previous to Jobscan, I also was a career coach. I worked in higher education up here in Canada. So I'm on the west coast of Canada, just a little bit north of where Andre is. And one of the things that was part of my duties was to engage with recruiters, engage with employers for like the career fair, bringing them on campus, info sessions, things like that, right? Um, to promote one of my students, I did not send this recruiter the resume of these students. I was like, oh, I think, you're hiring. I think these are great students. I sent them a video that this student posted about a project they had done on their LinkedIn. So on their LinkedIn, they talked about like, hey, I'm really proud of this project that I did for class, and this is how I'm going to continue to working on it. Even though I finished that class now, I'm going to continue working on it. Here's some visualization of it. And it was a very short GIF or video, I can't remember. I sent that off to a recruiter, and that recruiter was like, "This looks awesome." Interview done. That was it. I didn't send the resume. I didn't send, their information. I just sent a link to a video that this student posted on their LinkedIn. So yes, as Andre said, that is something that recruiters will look at your project. The quality of your work is a great way for you to stand out. You can put class projects on LinkedIn. Yeah,
Yes.
Kelly,
Hmm.
absolutely. Anything that promotes the quality of your work and your work ethic and the things that you're passionate about that you want people to know about you, you absolutely can put on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Andrew says, do you need to link to a portfolio? Because I don't have much experience building a portfolio. Um, I would say if you have a portfolio built out, fine. If you don't right now, it's not necessary. And again, keep in mind too, and I'm going to let Leanna get back to the presentation, but keep in mind that depending where you are at, if you are an undergraduate student, recruiters don't expect you to have like 5, 7 years of experience. They're not
Yeah.
expecting that from you, right? They know that you're just starting out. There are many recruiters out there who are early career recruiters and the like. So I wouldn't stress out about that. Not saying you are, but um, you should be fine. Even if you don't have a portfolio link to, it's okay.
That is absolutely okay. Like Andre said, like it is not an expectation for you to have like, yeah, those 10 years of experience. Recruiters will understand if you are a fresh grad, if you're, still in school, it's like they understand that your experience, they'll adjust that years of expectations, you know?
Yeah. And last
Okay.
thing I'll say on that, because I see Angie has more questions. What I would suggest is, um, if you can, make an appointment with your career advisor. So, because this is really a case by case basis thing, so they can actually take a look at your resume and see where you're at, have a conversation about what career field you're looking to get into, and speak with your career advisor about what projects can I put on my resume now so that I'm ready to go when I graduate in spring 2025.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So to that, what things can I put on my resume that will attract it? So back to applicant tracking systems, okay? The applicant tracking system is looking out for some particular things as related to the job description, and that's how it will assess you for the match for this job, right? So that they promotes you to the recruiter, say, hey, check this candidate out, they're a good match, all right? So in Jobscan here, I'm still sharing screen, correct? Everybody can still see my screen?
Yep.
Okay,
Perfect.
awesome. In here, let's update job information first. I want to give JobScan enough information about where I got this job from so that I can identify what ATS Lululemon is using. So, what are the boundaries that I need to work within to make sure that Lululemon's ATS can read through my resume fully? So, let's update this job information here. What company are you applying to? This is for Lululemon. This was for a financial analyst role. And very importantly, I want to put in the URL for this job listing here. So that's careers.lululemon.com. That's just this URL up here, okay? That's how we're going to identify what applicant tracking system Lululemon is using. So as I update details here and it does a quick refresh, once we've identified the ATS, we also will change our assessment criteria to match Lululemon's ATS as much as possible. And how I learn more about that is through here in searchability. It's the first drop down menu that we show you because it's the first thing we want you to read through. Because here, as I zoom in here, because I put in careers.lululemon.com, JobScan has identified that Lululemon uses the ATS called Taleo. And here are all the things that Taleo does or does not do when reading your resume. So going back to the question here for Michelle, when you ask about like, does it read all sorts of layouts? We give you very specific information per job description, per company, per ATS. So we'll give you sort of like what layout, what formatting, what are the capabilities of this ATS that Lululemon uses, so that and to give you that feedback about what needs to be in the resume or sort of what layout, what formatting needs to be in this resume so that Lululemon can pick this up clearly. Okay. So for example, Taleo recognizes only exact keywords. So the way it's written in the job description is how it's exactly looking for it in your resume in the exact same spelling. Okay. Taleo does not recognize common abbreviations. So for any of you who are in a little bit of a specialist role, where you are utilizing maybe software or machinery or that have jargon, that have like internal jargon for your industry, or have certifications where you're getting like a certified public accountant, right, and as a CPA. Taleo will not recognize those common abbreviations if that's sort of just common within your industry. So for Taleo in your resume, the formatting needs to be certified public accountant in brackets CPA. All right. So again, that goes for not just certifications or education, that goes for any sort of systems, tool, software, machinery that you might use in your industry. Okay. Taleo does not correctly parse flowcharts. So if you were thinking about using some visualizations like tables, line charts, bar charts, all that kind of stuff, Taleo as a software that Lululemon uses cannot read that. It will be wasted space in your resume. So in terms of a layout, if I can go back to Michelle's question, in terms of layout, this layout and this format cannot have graphs, cannot have pictures, cannot have tables because Taleo does not have the capability to read through it. Okay. Taleo can accept all formats of like a resume, but we do say PDF and .x. So Word documents are the preferred one. And lastly here, Taleo does not recognize different tenses, abbreviations, or acronyms of skills and keywords. So that root word and the variations of it will be different each time to Taleo. So when we talk about, let's say, like customer service versus client service, those are two different things to Taleo. Let's say for sports marketing or sports marketer, those are two different things to Taleo. Let's say event execution and execution of events. Those are two different things to Taleo. So when we are applying to a job at Lululemon, which we have identified uses the ATS called Taleo, we have to match it exactly to the job description. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like as you're adjusting your resume in here. Okay, so I'm going to look at my resume in here and I can see that lots of chatter in the chat. I will get to that in a second in here. Let's see here, like analyzing data. It's highlighted green. It's one of the first things in my resume that's highlighted green. This is contributing to the score here of 37. Let's say I wanted to change that from analyzing data to data analysis, implemented new standards for data analysis. I'm not changing the meaning of this bullet point. I'm still communicating the same skill, but within Power Edit here, and we can edit just by putting in, sort of just clicking into it. I'm going to change this to data analysis. Okay. And when I click out and it refreshes, let's see how Taleo feels about data analysis. My score has gone down by 2 points. Okay, data analysis is no longer highlighted green. Okay, because Taleo is looking for analyzing data, not data analysis, and it cannot infer that those two things mean the exact same thing. Okay, a human recruiter will be able to determine that means the same thing, but Taleo as a software which Lululemon uses cannot. So I'm going to change that back to analyzing data. Click out. Oops. And we're going to save it here. Back to a 37, analyzing data highlighted green again. Okay, so the spelling, the tenses, the grammatical structure, as much as possible, needs to match with the job description. All right, let me check in here. Okay. Recording. Okay, what is the ideal score for the resume scan? Great question, Kelly. The ideal score here that we are talking about is 75%. 75% means it's a good, solid resume, right? You're showcasing enough, there's enough of a match here that will sort of like make the recruiter maybe get a second look. Just for sharing here, I scored a 62% for the resume that I submitted to Jobscan, and that was good enough for me to get a callback for an interview. Okay. So
And if
sometimes it also is like about a particular skill that they're looking for. Go ahead, Andre.
I'm just gonna pop in really quick 'cause I see questions being asked. Again, really quick. Yes, this session, the virtual workshop, is being recorded. It is being recorded, and I will email all attendees the recording of this video. So no worries there. And again, in regards to, do you have free access to JobScan as a student? Yes, you do. Towards the end of our session, I will show you how to access that to your dashboard and also provide you with a link that you can that goes directly into JobScan to your dashboard as well.
Mhm.
Yes, on Michelle, yes, online it is $89 for the a quarter, but you don't have to pay that if you're a student right now. And even if you graduate, you're a recent graduate, you do get access to this for free for 1 full year after you graduate. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
No, that's good. Thank you also, Michelle, for answering some student questions in here. Thank you for this, like this community in here in the chat. Okay, good. Kaylee, back to your question. So the ideal score in here, 75% is why we said it's good. 62% was good enough for me. I'll share with you some sort of insight around how recruiters utilize ATSs. Sometimes the filtering process, the first thing that they will filter for is skills, maybe some keyword in the skill. For example, for this role here, a financial analyst role, we JobScan were recruiting for that in the beginning of the year. Of the applicants that we get, the first thing our recruiter does, let's say we have about like 400 applicants, the first thing that he does in our ATS called Lever is just filter by the word QuickBooks. QuickBooks is an accounting software. So after like what those like, how many hundred applicants that we get, like the 400 applicants. When we put in QuickBooks, maybe that goes down to 200. And then from there, we filter a little bit more for skill sets, maybe job title, financial analyst as a job title. Okay, so that's why even at like a 62 for myself or like 75 that we recommend, that's why sometimes we can still like be a good candidate because we have the particular skills and qualifications that a recruiter is looking for. What I will say also about the scoring here is you do not need to hit 100%. And 100% is never the goal here. Recruiters know there is no perfect candidate, there is no perfect resume in here. And if you go online, go on Reddit, go on TikTok, go on Instagram Reels, and somebody was just like, "Hey, just copy paste the entire job description into your resume because the ATS will say that you're a perfect candidate, you're an exact match." That's true. You could do that. You could, copy paste the entire job description in there. You can hide it with font size 0.5, hide it with the font color white, so that on this resume here, you couldn't see it or a recruiter. But I'm going to let you know here. because we interview recruiters all the time, we have focus groups, we do that interview for like panel sessions and like info sessions and things like that. Recruiters know that you may or may not do that. So for an example here, there is a medical organization that I work with that I know some of the recruiters for. They use, excuse me, my cat over here. Um, they use the ATS called iCIMS, which is developed by Amazon, and they have the scoring mechanism like this number right here on this 37. Any candidate that comes in at 100%, they will go and take a look at the text that exists. ATSs are all text parsers. There is always a version of the resume that exists that you can see just shows the text that is available in the resume in there. When they go and investigate candidates who come in at 100, 9 times out of 10, they have copy pasted the entire job description. And the recruiters are like, okay, well, this is unethical behavior. This email address is now blacklisted. And every time this candidate with this email address applies for jobs for the next 5 years, immediately tossed out. So for 5 years, they don't even look at your applications because one time you have done something unethical, as in copy paste the entire job description in your resume. So that's
Yeah.
not what we want to do. We don't want to get 100% in there.
Quick question. And Varun, I'll get to yours in a second here. So for Taylor, it says I can only scan my resume 5 times. Do I have to pay after that?
If you have scanning 5 times Taylor, then yes, we have logged in the wrong place. Log
Yes.
out. And then Andre at the end of this will show you where on your CSU website where you can go and then see and then log in with your credentials. It should trigger the sign in for your student ID. Okay, so not just your student email address. Okay, Taylor. So I'll let Andre do that.
Yes, indeed.
Cognizant of time here, let's get to a little bit more optimization if that's okay, Andre. Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Okay, cool. So looking at the report earlier, we do see the hard skills and soft skills. This is going to be sort of where you will spend most of your time with optimization, and most of your time meaning like 5 minutes. By the fifth or sixth scan that you do, once you get used to all of our interface in here, statistically, we do see that optimizing a resume will be a 5 minute procedure for you. So let's see hard skills here. Hard skills here shows me all of the skills I do have, like analyzing data. I got that green check mark. And all of these things in red here are the opportunities for me to add into my resume. So let's see here, like retail that we had mentioned earlier. If I need help with writing a bullet point for my resume in here, I can simply click on retail and then it'll give me 3 suggested phrases on how I can incorporate that into my resume. And it is optimized to your resume, your experience. So in my resume, it's very, analytical, like focus. So even here is like analyze retail sales data for business growth. If I like this one here, I can copy it and then paste where I feel like it makes sense. And then when I save it, right, it will say retail will be highlighted green, and now my score has improved to 38. Okay. So in this hard skills here, I can do that. I can click on the skill to get some examples in here, right? If I need to just add it into my core skills sections like Microsoft Excel, I don't want to waste a bullet point on it. I'll use this arrow here to just chuck it into my skills section. So let's say for that accounting example, like the CPA, I know accountants are going to know how to use Microsoft Excel. Like I know that that's going to be a thing, right? If it's written in the job description, that means the ATS is looking for it. And if the ATS is looking for it, it needs to be in your resume. Okay. So it just needs to be there in some component of your resume, if it's a core skill or a bullet point that you use. All right. So go through this, your hard skills and your soft skills in here. The mechanism will work the same, and add and edit as much as you need to increase the score here to somewhere again where you're happy. Again, we recommend 75%. All right. And with the things that we suggest here, right, like how we show the retail example, what I'll say about sort of the AI capabilities in here is AI is helpful to move things along. Again, we want this to be a fast process for you. However, it is still on you as an ethical human being to make sure that whatever AI has generated for you is an accurate reflection of your skills. Okay. If you need some examples to like rephrase, when you click any bullet point in here, we have the rephrase button right up here. But if you also have something downloaded like Grammarly, Grammarly works in perfectly over Jobscan. So you can see a couple of suggestions, some added suggestions on how you can tweak it, right? And I do recommend whatever AI tool that you use, you still take 2 minutes to just edit those bullet points to put your voice into it so it sounds more you and less AI. Okay, so that is the optimization piece in here, hard skills and soft skills, and searchability, hard skills and soft skills. These three areas will be the three main areas that help you to increase this score here. And then once you're happy with the score, like for myself, 62 was good enough for me to get an interview for this job. I can download it here as a PDF or a Word document. We do recommend PDF, right? And if you really like this resume, this star right here is where you can now save this resume as a base resume, what we call. So you can name this like financial analyst 2.0. And then once you save it, this version of this resume will come up every time you want to do a new scan so that you can work off of this resume instead. So you have a better jumping off point than before. All right. So those are sort of like the harder mechanisms in terms of like the hard skills in here to increase your score. Okay, we have a few other mechanisms here for recruiter tips, like to share with some suggestions that we ask recruiters. What do recruiters want to see? Things like measurable results is a great way to attract the attention of the recruiter. But if you don't have measurable results, we will not penalize you for this score. Everything under recruiter tips are purely suggestions for you. And then we have sort of a formatting check here just to make sure your resume is ATS accessible. Editor here is just sort of like the resume builder where you can add a couple more sections like your projects we were talking about earlier. Have a project section, right? You can add that section in here. And then style is just other formats of the resume here. Back to your question, I think it was Michelle who answered this. These are sort of the layouts that are the most ATS accessible, okay? So make sure that the ATS is going to be able to take all that information that you're sharing. All right, that is the resume piece in here. I'm going to go to the chat now for the questions.
Yes. So, Andrea, in regards to how you access the job scan, you're going to log into your dashboard, and I can show how to do that. I'll actually do that. I think Varun, you had a question in regards to being a freshman in computer science, and let's say you have multiple projects on your resume from beginner to intermediate, and you just want to know how do you filter your application after a bunch of projects and how should I design my resume now looking for on-campus jobs as a student? I'll answer the latter and I'll let maybe Liana take the first part of that question if she'd like.
Mhm.
When you're filtering I'm sorry, when you're applying for jobs on campus, you want to pay attention to what the role on campus is asking for. So you're a computer science student. If the role is really asking for customer service front desk, they're not really concerned about if you know JavaScript, C++, and the like. You want to make sure that your application for the on-campus role is going to match the position you're applying for, which means you're probably going to have multiple resumes, one for on-campus and one for internships that you are applying for outside of the university. Did you want to tackle the first part of that, Liana? Do you want me to touch on that?
Yeah. So Varun, in terms of job application for a ATS, for an applicant tracking system, right? So this is just in general, not specifically for on-campus jobs and internships. Let's say for just in general, if you're looking for a job, how do you um, filter your application? So how do you sort your application? How do you showcase all of these jobs, these projects for the job that you might apply to? Let's say you are applying to like this example, Lululemon, right? Put the job description through Jobscan. We will go through the hard skills here and the soft skills. Look at what is required in the resume in general. Whatever project that you have that can speak to these skills, those are the ones you can pick and choose to add into your resume. Your resume in general is not a be all end all document about who you are and all the things that you have achieved. It is a very condensed a document of your highlights of how you match your skills with the job. What are the most relevant things? Okay, so the word relevant here is the key part here. What is a relevant project that speaks to this job in particular? Now, going back to the focus on campus jobs and internships, again, same thing. What is being asked here in that job description for this on campus job, for this on campus internship? Focus on what's relevant, pick and choose those projects that's going to be the most relevant for that job for on campus. Andre, back to you if you wanted to add anything, add any more flavor to that?
I think that was a lot of flavor. That was excellent flavor to that, actually.
Okay, awesome.
Dimitri had a question in regards
Yes.
to listing a skill multiple times, once or
Yeah.
multiple times for how does that affect the score, if it does at all?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question here. So, Dimitri, so what I'll answer is sometimes. Actually, I have a slide on this for something else. Hold on, let me pull up a slide here so I can show you a comparison of multiple different ATSs, okay? I'm gonna pull this up because it's easier to see in this
And
way.
really quick, if some of you have to go at 6, I'm going to be here a little bit after if you have some questions. But after Liana touches on this, I'm going to show you really quick how to log into your university, your student dashboard. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so this is a comparison between Greenhouse as an ATS and Taleo as an ATS. Greenhouse is utilized by companies like DoorDash, which is the one that we took here. This is a screenshot from Jobscan when we tried to do a application to DoorDash. Companies like Airbnb also use Greenhouse. For Greenhouse, Dimitri, Greenhouse uses the frequency of a skill to determine search result rankings. So for Greenhouse, when I'm applying to DoorDash, when I'm applying to Airbnb, things like that, I do want to mention a skill a little bit more as it relates to the job description. So let's see for this Lululemon job that we were doing, right? It mentions analytics or analyzing data like 3 times throughout the job description. I want to be able to match that cadence, that amount of times that it's mentioned. But Taleo, again, the one that we're using today for Lululemon, does not have that mechanism, does not care how many times that you mention it. So it will not impact the score in that way. So to answer your question, depends. It depends, Dimitri, what ATS you go up against. So how you find that out again is in searchability. What is the ATS you're going up against? What are the things it cares about? And then in the hard skills, you can see here, see like analyzing data is mentioned 3 times in the job description, but only 1 time in my resume. And for Taleo, that 1 time, good enough, good to go. Taleo does not care how many times I mention analyzing data.
Nice. All
Yeah,
right. So let me do this. I'm going to quickly just show you how you can
yeah.
access
Go ahead.
JobScan through your dashboard. And then I know Andrew, you have another question. I'll let Liana touch on that. So let me, and I can touch on that as well if you like, but I'm going to let Liana take a stab at that. All
I'm
right. So
gonna see
let
it.
me
If they want to
share.
see previous projects and classworks you have done, do you need to have one source because I have different projects that are just PDF or Google slide links? And some of my projects in personal artwork upload social media like since I mostly use Instagram to upload. I can answer this, Andre, but I'll let you do this one. I think this is more important for folks who might need to hop off first.
Okay, very
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
All right, people. So we are in the dashboard right now. Since I'm staff, my dashboard might look a little different to yours, but pretty much the same thing. You're going to look for your little career link chiclet. I call it an app. They call it a chiclet. Uh, I call it an app. So we're going to click on this right here, career link. All right. So you click on career link. All right. Once you are inside, you're going to go up to where it says resources, right up here. You're going to click on that. And you can click on online tools, or you can actually just scroll down really quick. And in the online tools section, you're going to see JobScan right here. And you click on it, and it will take you into your dashboard for JobScan. So that's how you will do that. I did put a direct link in there, though, that bypasses the whole going through CareerLink, but many of you will be looking for jobs anyway inside of CareerLink. So there's other tools that the Career Center has for you to use inside of CareerLink. So again, in the online section, JobScan, and it takes you right there. Okay. All right. I'm going to sort of hop out to stop sharing so Liana can touch on that question. And I'm also going to drop the link to the survey. It's a quick 2-minute survey. If you can take that, we really would appreciate it for you to do. All right. Stop sharing right now. All right, Liana, you want to tackle that one?
Okay, yeah. So, Andrea, for your questions here about project classwork and how to best display that for the ATS. So, when you using your like you say artwork for social media, like your Instagram and things like that. So, for the an ATS perspective, just straight up like the first round of a filter for a company be an applicant tracking system. So, like we said, putting visuals, things like that, that's not going to be accessible to an ATS. How you want to include that work, if you wanted to showcase it, is having a link to your Instagram or most likely your LinkedIn on your resume. And I'll show you right here. We'll go back to Jobscan in here. Let me minimize this a little bit here. Right here, I have my LinkedIn. So linkedin.com/Liyana Joe. That's the alias that I use for here, right? Having some sort of web presence is a great way for the ATS to say, hey, some external link in here, go and check it out to the recruiter. For very art heavy, design heavy, for any of you who are going into graphic design, interior design, architecture, things like that, that will require some sort of artwork. This is a great way to show it. Just having like we said, a digital portfolio here. However, this is not the only way that you can do this. Many job applications, Lululemon and otherwise, when you go through like actually clicking on apply, right? It will give you a questionnaire sometimes. And a lot of those questionnaires also will say like, give us your personal website. Your personal website can be an online portfolio for, I think somebody was here in CS for computer science. So like your GitHub link is what you can put in there. So for the artists in here, whatever art portfolio that you have that is like a free online thing, like Instagram, a professional Instagram here, that's one that you absolutely want to put in there. I do not recommend using your personal Instagrams if you have any sort of like private information that you don't want an employer to know. So if you have a professional Instagram or an Instagram specifically for the quality of your work, the projects that you do, that is something that you absolutely can include in the application so that the ATS can pick that up. Okay?
Yeah. And quick
Go ahead.
question, Liana, to be mindful of your time as well.
Mhm.
Since you have recruiting experience, basic things for formatting on the resume, do you prefer to see the actual link for the LinkedIn profile or just have their name that links to their profile? That makes sense.
Uh, put as in like tag the hyperlink. Like if I click it on a
Yeah.
PDF, it takes it into a hyperlink. For an ATS, again, so very specific ATS answering is how the content that I will provide today. The ATS can already pull up your like https://linkedin.com/my name as a report for the recruiter, which already will generate a hyperlink to said website. So you don't have to include that in. If you're hiding hyperlinks in your resume, depending on the formatting, the ATS may or may not pick that up because it is a text one. So just have it there as a linkedin.com/my full name, and then they'll be able to see it. It's the most accessible for the ATS.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Another question was in regards to would you rather choose to put two excellent projects, industry ready projects, industry related versus 5 to 7 projects, experiences, but they're not as impressive, more like class projects and the like. Um, I would say yes. Definitely for a recruiter, you want to show your strongest projects. You don't necessarily need to have 5 or 7 projects per se. Yeah, but generally from what I've seen with resumes, students may have like 3, maybe 4, maybe even 5. 7 is a bit much. It's a bit much, unless you're probably going into, which I don't think you are. Let's say later on you're going into academia, you're getting on a research PhD level. That's a whole different type of resume. But
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking, industry-wise, yeah, 2 excellent projects, 2, 3 works just fine. What do you think, Liana?
Well, from an ATS perspective, again, they are looking out for those keywords. So if you're saying two excellent projects, my sort of standard for excellence is what's going to be the most relevant to this job? What are the
Hmm.
projects that can speak to those keywords that the job description is actually looking for? That is how, the recruiter is going to take 6 seconds to review your resume. They are looking out for the things that are going to be relevant to them for this role. So depending on your definition of excellent, excellent would be what is the most relevant for this job. Again, you don't have to put your entire portfolio in your resume. That is what LinkedIn is for. LinkedIn is for showcasing a lot of those projects, the quality of your work. 94% of recruiters will go to your LinkedIn profile to vet you as a candidate to do, what I think y'all are calling like the vibe check right now, right? So the recruiter going to your LinkedIn is a great way for them to see all that extra bits that you couldn't put into your resume. Okay. The resume is just the appetizer, the teaser for the recruiter, right? Your LinkedIn can be all of those and that extra flavor bit.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point that Liana made. The projects you're putting on that resume should really be specific to the job you're applying for and highlight you in the best possible way for
Hmm.
that position. Those projects should highlight that you're a shoo-in or an excellent candidate for that position.
Hmm.
Let's see, so do you need a different source to build a portfolio since I have no, what's that, since
Not
I'm
signed up for
not signed up for
LinkedIn yet.
LinkedIn yet? I see.
Andrea, I really recommend signing up for LinkedIn. So 94% of recruiters go to your LinkedIn to vet you as a candidate. 87% of recruiters utilize LinkedIn as a sourcing tool. Recruiters will day in, day out utilize LinkedIn as a tool. So you having a presence on LinkedIn is very valuable for you to be accessible to recruiters to check you out. So in 2025, that's one of those things for job search. I recommend that you have a presence on LinkedIn to showcase your work, to be able to be accessible to recruiters, because recruiters are definitely using it to look for candidates like yourself. Okay? Alrighty. Those are the questions. Any other questions in here? I think we have covered most things in here. Da, 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 da. If we did not get to your question, feel free to copy paste it again. But we are cognizant of everyone's time in here. We are at the top of the hour. If you do need to hop off, thank you very much for spending a bit of your afternoon with me. The recording will be available to you as folks who participated and registered for this session. But I don't see any additional questions in
I
here.
don't either. So, what other ways are
Oh.
those other ways are the to collect context about specific job besides the job posting? I would say company website, the LinkedIn
Mhm,
page. Sometimes LinkedIn page, I like to look at the LinkedIn page because it's a quick snapshot or summary of what's top of mind of the company. If you don't
mhm.
have a lot of time to go through the company's multiple pages on their website, but obviously you still want to take time to go through the company page. But LinkedIn, their company profiles are a really quick way to get a quick snapshot of the company itself.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
yeah. I do want to be respectful of Liana's time, so I can stay on for a little bit to answer some other questions, but I did want us to give a good round of applause, a thumbs up to Liana for
Absolutely.
showing us how to take advantage of the Power Edit tool on JobScan. So all of
Thank
you
you.
should log on and utilize it. And just as a quick or a sneak peek, Liana's going to be back again at the end of October talking about AI and how AI and recruiters are, what AI and recruitment is looking like and how you can utilize JobScan to help you with that. So it will be a different JobScan workshop, but that's in October. So be on the lookout for that and join us for that as well. But I did want to thank Liana again for her time. Awesome,
Thank
awesome,
you.
awesome. And we look forward to seeing you again in October. And like I
Hmm.
said, if anyone has any other questions, I'll be on here for like a minute or two. If you have any other questions, and yes, Kelly, I will answer that question in regards
Yes.
to on-campus jobs. But
Yeah.
thank you so much, Liana.
Yeah. I don't think you need me for that one,
Yep,
Andre.
yep,
So
yep.
yeah, I'm gonna hop off. Thank you all for your time here and enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week. Thanks, Andre. I'll see you in October.
Yes, take care. All
Thanks.
right.
Bye.
Bye.